Welcome back to our 5-lesson series on the problems Aeroseal solves or prevents. Let's continue today with 3 more ways duct leakage causes temperature comfort complaints. Here's temperature comfort problem number 3. The duct system could not be air balanced. You've probably had this experience with some homes that have balancing dampers. No matter how much you or the homeowner play with them, it still doesn't really solve the uneven temperature problem. Well, here's an insight. In order to be able to balance a duct system, it has to first be balanceable. If the supply side is losing 20, 30, 40% of the air, all the damper tweaking in the world won't recover it. Your heart simply can't deliver your blood to where it's needed if your arteries are hemorrhaging. Sealing makes duct systems air balanceable. Many times, no adjustments are needed and the house kind of self-balances. Other times, a minor post-seal tweak of the balancing dampers is the icing on the cake to make things right for the first time since the house was built. Let's have an important sidebar discussion on zoning. I'm often asked, how do motorized zoning dampers and extra thermostats fit in with Aeroseal? Is that competitive or complementary to Aeroseal? Well, here's my experience. In my fairly compact and modest home, Aeroseal alone got me to within 2 degrees between up and down. If I wanted to make it absolutely the same temperature, I could have with zoning, but it's just not worth it to me. Aeroseal alone fixed the root cause of the problem. Now, don't get me wrong, I am a big fan of zoning and do think it's mandatory in certain house styles. But way too often, zoning has been sold as a band-aid fix when the root cause of the problem was simply duct leakage, and often also high static pressure and low total airflow. I do routinely propose zoning as part of one of the premium solution bundles. Some people buy it, and they love it. But more often, offering zoning gives them something to say no to. Most people need to say no to something so they can then feel comfortable saying yes. If they feel the premium solution is too much, I explain that their next bundle down is the clean and seal, maybe with an enlarged return or less resistant filter, but no zoning. I let them know other folks often choose to just fix their ducts, live with it for a year, and then decide if zoning is warranted. And that often, like in my own home, it turned out zoning wasn't really needed after all. So they happily settle on a mid-range bundle. And remember, Aeroseal makes zoning work much better. In my opinion, Aeroseal should always be done either before or along with a zoning installation. Why? Zoning without Aeroseal is a brute force solution that has unintended side effects. It may seem to solve the comfort problem by forcing more air to the zone that's calling, but it's at the cost of raising overall duct pressures and making the unsealed ducts leak even more. Areas like basements often get even colder, or even more conditioned air is leaking into the attic or the crawl space. However, if the ducts are well sealed, when dampers close, that precious air can only squirt out the registers or the runs that are open, getting all of it to where we want it. Sealed ducts are essential for you to regain control over the air. The 4th big temperature-related comfort complaint we hear is our AC unit can't keep up. It seems so many people think their AC unit isn't big enough. But here's what the Department of Energy says. Customers often complain that the air conditioning system is not providing adequate cooling. The usual response is to install a larger unit. However, the real culprit is often the duct system. The University of Florida Energy Extension Service has this to say. Duct leakage significantly increases cooling and heating loads, sometimes beyond what the HVAC system can sustain. Leaky ducts make your HVAC work much harder. Ducts leaking just 20% of the conditioned air passing through them cause your system to work 50% harder. A better way to say that might have been that their research found that 20% leakage can cause a 50% drop in output, especially if there's return air leakage from a very hot attic. It is very rare that an air conditioner is too small. Duct leakage is overwhelmingly the main reason a system can't keep up. For example, the customer has a 4-ton unit, is paying to run a 4-ton unit, but only 3 tons of AC actually gets into the living space. The rest is wasted in the attic, crawl space, or settles down into the basement floor like invisible cold water. Sealing a duct system always restores lost capacity and helps ensure it'll keep the house cool even on the hottest days. And of course, you should also check for and correct other possible contributors, like dirty coils, low airflow, incorrect charge, missing insulation, and so on. Let's now talk about cold weather complaints. Heat pumps often get a really bad rap. The fifth common temperature comfort complaint we routinely hear is, our house seems cold when the heat pump is on. If you were in a retirement area in the South, you've probably met this customer. She says, in New Jersey, it was freezing cold out, but we had a gas furnace and we were comfortable. But here the winters are milder, but we freeze when this heat pump comes on. The house gets drafty and the air coming out of the vents isn't warm enough. That's my best shot at a New Jersey accent. This is often directly caused by duct leakage. There's two common reasons. Number one, supply leaks literally suck. If a system loses supply duct leakage into the attic or crawl space, and there isn't as much return leakage, a house pressure imbalance occurs. When more air is lost to atmosphere, the house goes to a negative air pressure, like a partial vacuum, to make up for the lost air. So for example, if 200 more CFMs are lost out the supply leaks than get sucked into the return leaks, the house goes negative in order to maintain the airflow balance. It sucks 200 CFMs of cold outside air back in, and this air comes in through all the gaps and cracks around windows and doors, electrical outlets, down from can lights, and that makes the house feel cold and drafty. Seal the ducts, and the house operates back at a neutral pressure, and the cold drafts often disappear. Now this happens with both furnaces and heat pumps, but the impacts are more noticeable with heat pumps due to their lower temperature rise. The second common cause of cold blow complaints with heat pumps in winter is return duct leakage. Return leaks routinely suck in cold crawl space or attic air. It significantly dilutes and cools down the return air going into the heat pump. I've seen units that should have had 95-degree supply air only deliver 85 because of frozen outside air getting sucked into the return leaks. Seal up the return leaks, stop trying to heat the great outdoors, and amazing things happen to both comfort and utility bills. A modern heat pump is kind of like a Formula One race car. Both are very advanced precision technology. Both also need to be driven only on a perfect track. For a heat pump, its smooth track is a good duct system. You can't go off-roading in a Formula One. Trying to run a heat pump on a leaky, undersized duct system is kind of like trying to drive a Formula One on a dirt road full of potholes. Heat pumps are being promoted more and more because of climate change concerns. However, a great heat pump on a bad duct system can be a recipe for disaster. We'll come back to heat pumps in more detail in Section 6 when we discuss estimating energy savings. So that's it for today. Duct leakage is usually the main cause of at least 5 common temperature-related comfort complaints. The realistic promise that duct sealing will improve comfort seems to be the leading reason homeowners buy Aeroseal. Comfort does have inherently a perceived value. People want to be comfortable in their homes. It's why they have HVAC equipment in the first place, right? I've had many frustrated people over the years tell me, yeah, sure, our utility bills are kind of high, but frankly, I wouldn't mind paying them if only the house were comfortable. In our next lesson, we'll cover a related set of comfort complaints, but this time related to indoor humidity, not temperature. The audio track for this video is available to listen for review. Thanks for being an Aeroseal dealer, and I'll see you on the next lesson.